Which team to win this one?
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter the cost.
Yep. 30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
What manner of creature are you?
None of your business.
When you enter my realm, I will know everything.
I'm never coming anywhere near your flarking realm. You can count on that.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
I've been in worse games. I'll patch you up.
I feel better already.
Someone scratch my back.
Healing power.
I am barely harmed. What is the soul of a machine?
Quantum magic. Quantum magic.
I feel like myself again. I'll patch you up.
Perfection is unattainable, but that should not stop us from trying to achieve it. This shield will serve me well.
Whoever they are, they don't look friendly. You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks. Better stop that vehicle! This is restarting.
You are safe now, my friend.
Follow the spiders.
I require some
You
aid.
stop them in their tracks.
Healing
Fire mode. Wither time.
Gambit never falls! You're welcome.
already.
You're about to shoot at us.
There's still so much to do. Healing power.
Why would I need Better stop that vehicle! I'm counting on you.
You're welcome.
The cosmos heals you.
Down! That's fucking hurt!
Rated halfway! Stop them!
This shield will serve me well.
Born again!
The cosmos heals you. I require some aid. You are safe now, my friend. Second chance is over. Quantum magic.
Extermination! Beholds the god of thunder!
Why would I need you?
Quantum magic.
Fire mode! Gotta stop that vehicle!
Enemies. Perfect.
Healing power. This time I need healing.
That was a little messed up there. Thanks.
Pure cosmic energy. Quantum magic.
You stopped them in their tracks!
My cosmic might returns.
Systems restored!
Healing power.
I am very harmed.
You made me do this.
I'll patch you up.
Have feasts for my crows.
The cosmos heals you. You are safe now, my friend.
Whoever they are, they don't look friendly.
Quantum
You
magic.
stopped them in their tracks!
This time I need healing. This shield will serve me well.
I'll patch you up.
Systems restored!
The cosmos heals you.
Damn it, never fall!
Stronger together. Never miss.
Born again!
Power.
Fire mode!
Second chance is over. The cosmos heals you.
An opportunity for combat. Thanks
You
for
are
the
safe
love,
now,
love.
my friend.
You stopped them in their tracks!
Universes.
Quantum magic.
Eyes over here.
Keep your eyes on
This
this!
shield will serve me well.
Beholds the god of thunder!
Only 60 seconds left!
Dinner time, love.
Enough!
The cosmos heals you.
Never thought I'd be sad to see Duck get defeated.
Healing power.
Extermination!
Down to 30 seconds!
Already. Needed a little boost. Thanks.
Hold the line.
Cosmos
Just a little
heals you.
longer. Why would I need healing? Have feasts for my
Quantum
crows.
magic.
The final 10 seconds! Double KO!
Cosmic balance is restored.
Born again!
Another epic victory! Big win! You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter the cost.
Thank you very much. We gather here today as members of a historic alliance, an alliance that saved and changed the world. You know, when this conference began in 1963,
Perfection is unattainable.
it was in a nation,
but that should not
actually it
stop
was on a
us from
continent,
trying to achieve it.
was divided against itself. The line between
30
communism
seconds
and
before you
freedom
attack. Get ready.
ran through the heart of Germany. The first barbed fences of the Berlin Wall had gone up just 2 years prior. And just months before that first conference, before our predecessors first met here in Munich,
Prepare yourself, friend.
the Cuban
For our
Missile
shield
Crisis
is about to rise again.
had brought the world to the
Quite
brink
rapidly.
of nuclear destruction.
The battle starts in 5.
Even as World War II still burned fresh in the memory of Americans and Europeans
All
alike,
you need to do is capture the mission area.
we found ourselves
Got it?
staring down the barrel of a new global catastrophe. One with the potential for a new kind of destruction, more apocalyptic and finer than anything before in the history of mankind. The time of that first gathering, Soviet communism was on the march. Thousands of years of Western civilization hung in the balance. At that time, victory was far from certain. But we were driven by a common purpose. We were unified not just by what we were fighting against. We were unified by what we were fighting for. And together, Europe and America prevailed. And a continent was rebuilt. Our people prospered. In time, the East and West blocks were reunited. A civilization was once again made whole. That infamous wall that had cleaved this nation into two came down, and with it, an evil empire. And the East and West became one again. But the euphoria of this triumph led us to a dangerous illusion that we had entered, quote, the end of history. That every nation would now be a liberal democracy, that the ties formed by trade and by commerce alone would now replace nationhood. That the rule-based world order, an overused term, would now replace the national interest. And that we would now live in a world without borders where everyone became a citizen of the world. This was a foolish idea that ignored both human nature and it ignored the lessons of over 5,000 years of recorded human history. And it has cost us dearly. In this delusion, we embraced a dogmatic vision of free and unfettered trade, even as some nations protected their economies and subsidized their companies to systematically undercut ours, shuttering our plants, resulting in large parts of our societies being deindustrialized, shipping millions of working and middle-class jobs overseas, and handing control of our critical supply chains to both adversaries and rivals. We increasingly outsourced our sovereignty to international institutions while many nations invested in massive welfare states at the cost of maintaining the ability to defend themselves.
Executioner!
Even as other countries have invested in the most rapid military buildup in all of human history and have not hesitated to use hard power to pursue their own interests. To appease a climate cult, we have imposed energy policies on ourselves that are impoverishing our people, even as our competitors exploit oil and coal and natural gas and anything else, not just to power their economies, but to use as leverage against our own. And in a pursuit of a world without borders, we opened our doors to an unprecedented wave of mass migration that threatens the cohesion of our society, the continuity of our culture, and the future of our people. We made these mistakes together.
You're on my radar.
And now, together, we owe it to our people to face those facts and to move forward, to rebuild. Under President Trump, the United States of America will once again take on the task of renewal and restoration, driven by a vision of a future as proud, as sovereign, and as vital as our civilization's past. And while we are prepared, if necessary, to do this alone, it is our preference, and it is our hope to do this together with you, our friends here in Europe. For the United States and Europe, we belong together. America was founded 250 years ago. But the roots began here on this continent long before. The men who settled and built the nation of migrants arrived on our shores carrying the memories and the traditions and the Christian faith of their ancestors as a sacred inheritance, an unbreakable link between the old world and the new. We are part of one civilization, Western civilization. We are bound to one another by the deepest bonds that nations could share, forged by centuries of shared history, Christian faith, culture, heritage, language, ancestry, and the sacrifices our forefathers made together for the common civilization to which we have fallen heirs. And so this is why we Americans may sometimes come off as a little chaotic and urgent in our country. This is why President Trump demands seriousness and reciprocity from our friends here in Europe. The reason why, my friends, is because we care deeply. We care deeply about your future and ours. And if at times we disagree, our disagreements come from our profound sense of concern about a Europe with which we are connected. Not just economically, not just militarily. We are connected spiritually, and we are connected culturally.
No one stops us from getting
We want Europe to be strong. We believe that Europe must survive. Because the two great wars of the last century served for us as history's constant reminder
Against the world!
Judge, jury,
our destiny is
executioner!
and will always be intertwined with yours. Because we know
We save an empire, maybe they save us. Just the boost I need.
because we know that the fate of Europe will never be irrelevant to our own. National security, which this conference is largely about, is not merely a series of technical questions. How much we spend on defense or where, how we deploy it, these are important questions. They are. But they are not the fundamental ones. The fundamental question we must answer at the outset is what exactly are we defending? Because armies do not fight for abstractions. Armies fight for a people. Armies fight for democracy. Armies fight for a way of life. And that is what we are defending. A great civilization that has every reason to be proud of its history, confident of its future, and aims to always be the master of its own. It was here, in Europe, where the ideas that planted the seeds of liberty that changed the world were born. It was here, in Europe, where the world, which gave the world the rule of law, the universities, and the scientific revolution. It was this continent that produced the genius of Mozart and Beethoven, of Dante and Shakespeare, of Michelangelo and Da Vinci, of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And this is the place where the vaulted ceilings of the Sistine Chapel, the towering spires of the great cathedral in Rome, they testify not just to the greatness of our past, or to a faith in God that inspired them. They foreshadow the wonders that await us in our future.
This is real!
But only if we are unapologetic in our heritage and proud of this common inheritance can we together begin the work of envisioning and shaping our economic and our political future.
Maybe they save us.
Deindustrialization is not inevitable. It was a conscious policy choice, a decades-long economic undertaking that stripped our nations of their wealth, of their productive capacity, and of their independence. And the loss of our supply chain sovereignty was not a function of a prosperous and healthy system of global trade. It was foolish. It was a foolish but voluntary transformation of our economy that left us dependent on others for our needs and dangerously vulnerable to crisis. Mass migration isn't some fringe concern of little consequence. It was and continues to be a crisis which is transforming and destabilizing societies all across the world. Together we can reindustrialize our economies and rebuild our capacity to defend our people. But the work of this new alliance should not be focused just on military cooperation and reclaiming the innocence of the past. It should also be focused on together advancing our mutual interests to new frontiers, unshackling our ingenuity, our creativity, and the dynamic spirit to build a new Western century. Commercial space travel and cutting-edge artificial intelligence, industrial automation and flex manufacturing, creating a Western supply chain for critical minerals not vulnerable to extortion from other powers, and a unified effort to compete for market share in the economies of the global south. Together, we can not only take back control of our own industries and supply chains, we can prosper in the areas that will define the 21st century. But we must also gain control of our national borders. Controlling who and how many people enter our countries, this is not an expression of xenophobia. It is not hate. It is a fundamental act of national sovereignty. And the failure to do so is not just an abdication of one of our most basic duties owed to us. It is an urgent threat to the fabric of our societies and the survival of our civilization itself. And finally, we can no longer place the so-called global order above the vital interests of our people and our nation. We do not need to abandon the system of international cooperation we authored. And we don't need to dismantle the global institutions of the old order that together we built. But these must be reformed. These must be rebuilt. For example, the United Nations still has tremendous potential to be a tool for good in the world. But we cannot ignore that today, on the most pressing matters before us, it is no answer, and has played virtually no role. It could not solve the war in Gaza. Instead, it was American leadership that freed captives from barbarians and brought about a fragile truce. It has not solved the war in Ukraine. It took American leadership in partnership with many of the countries here today just to bring the two sides to the table in search of a still elusive peace. It was powerless to constrain the nuclear program of radical Shia clerics in Tehran. That required 14 bombs dropped with precision from American B-2 bombers. And it was unable to address the threat to our security from a narco-terrorist dictator in Venezuela. Instead, it took American special forces to bring this fugitive to justice. In a perfect world, all of these problems and more would be solved by diplomats and strongly worded resolutions. But we do not live in a perfect world. And we cannot continue to allow those who blatantly and openly threaten our citizens and endanger our global stability to shield themselves behind abstractions of international law which they themselves routinely violate. This is the path that President Trump and the United States has embarked upon. It is the path we ask you here in Europe to join us on. It is a path we have walked together before and hope to walk together again. For 5 centuries, before the end of the Second World War,
I tend to lost souls, like a shepherd tends to his flock.
12:30 on the East Coast and 9:30 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'm here for the next several hours as we break down all of your top stories and live events across the country and across the world. I do want to get you right back into some of the big stories that we are covering at this hour, and this is one that we've seen developing over the past several months as President Trump says that a regime change in Iran, quote, would be the best thing that could happen. His administration continues to weigh military action against Iran, as nuclear talks are expected to continue next week. The president also confirms that he's deploying a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East. We do have all of this development. President Trump has been asked about it.
This shield has served me well.
to put on a show! Almost there! Don't turn back now!
Born again!
Yes, it is, and it's not anywhere. That would go beyond Operation Midnight Hammer. As we saw in last June, the United States Air Force was able to take out many separate
Never hunted a force of creation before.
But the build-up here suggests that this wave, if it were to actually materialize, it would go beyond selective targeting. It would be an extensive campaign, realistically going beyond just nuclear, going after ballistic missiles. Of course, the repression apparatus that has been killing everybody protesters, and potentially the decapitation of key leaders, and different military leaders that are highly
It's a layer of armor.
Dinner time, love!
Now you do the same for me, we. My favorite time. You lucky I'm a
realistic outcomes. That's something that a lot of people are asking because you see, these aircraft carriers that are being deployed. Some questions as to whether there is going to be any real discussion here or if President Trump's mind has been made up. What should we expect to happen if the talks
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the
There
momentum.
is a real discussion taking place, meaning Washington has expressed its willingness to resolve the situation diplomatically. That said, everything was maybe 2025 of last year with the drone negotiation. Again, the ball was in general court. Washington kept its red line. But again, we saw what happened with that.
Armed and dangerous!
While also having their very
Again!
messages that they can facilitate this talk go on longer than it should. On one
We
hand,
just
they
gotta
say
get to
it's
Avengers Tower. Trade us now.
That's what we're going to see, but I would highlight one last thing on that is that given that the long negotiations did not go well by any standard, still we did not hear official negative comments coming from the We're probably going to see the same one again. So
I am ready to put on a show!
Statements because again, as we've seen, even though there might be neutrality coming from this administration, publicly, there might be different operations.
Dinner time, love! You are nothing!
Keep pushing ahead.
How does that kind of unrest and the protests impact the Iranian regime's kind of stronghold there and give the U.S. maybe a little more
Almost
leverage?
there! Don't turn back now!
That is the biggest leverage the United States has ever had against the Islamic Republic. And that is only one pillar of the weakness of the regime. Of course, domestic and
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
what's going on in Iran is a focus. It's even greater than that. It's not just limited to protest. Even though the protests to an extent have fizzled out, we still see new waves emerging.
A monster, perhaps, but one of the good ones.
Armed and dangerous! Again! Again!
Hey, you got down. Cheers, mate!
So what's this part is the fact that Iranians have chosen what alternatives they want.
Ain't
to
ready for
Islamic
Rogue to be a winner.
And that's why we can start to engage with the administration, this opposition.
Never got your back.
Of course, they have great ties to the Iranian state society. That signals the most attractive
Never mess
the
with
Islamic
us.
about to be overthrown. And we already have a diaspora scenario on how to replace it and how to fund it. So that really should be the main focus here. But that said, again, the opposition should be chosen by the Iranian people, and it has been the case. So it's not the administration's job to engage with them. It's really about how more good leverage is what's happening on the ground. We have to get into a bit of that the Turkey is benefiting from the public place, so they would have been pursuing their own agenda of the United States. We're reaching a point that certain allies do not share the same interests or preferences. Which is, on the other hand, you have Oman, which has been more fully objective in this scenario. They haven't really been for any stance or policy objective, which is realistically why Tehran also finds them to be desirable, meaning that this allows Tehran to negotiate with the United States more so directly, or at least on the same level. Because if you have other intermediaries come in, such as the Turks, they would want to have a stake in the negotiation. They want to pursue something of their own. When the Omani case, it's probably going to be more, I guess, objective. But that said, the venue can only matter so much. It ultimately comes
You'll
down
need a
to
top-notch
what the regime
team to
is
win
going
this
to
one.
compromise over. Are they going to go beyond nuclear and
I will bring peace to this universe, no matter the cost.
Democratic leaders seem to have a new motto lately, quote, "We break it, you pay for it." Now, outgoing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is demanding American taxpayers bail out the state. Now, this comes after he let fraud run wild.
Now, President Trump ramping up pressure on
In a
Iran
world
for a
consumed,
nuclear
I will
deal,
bring
surging
peace.
military
30 seconds
assets to
before
the
you
Middle
attack.
East,
Get
and
ready.
sending a strong warning to Tehran
in my
today.
favor.
How confident are you that our negotiations with Iran will be successful?
I think they'll be successful, and if they're not, it's going to be a bad day for Iran. Very bad.
And Hugh Hewitt, Fox News contributor and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show, he writes in his latest piece on FoxNews.com that President
battle
Trump's
starts
next
in
move in
5,
Iran could be, quote,
4,
the most important
3,
decision of
2,
his presidency.
1.
Hugh, thanks for being with us.
You have
Thank you
to
for
stop them from securing the mission area.
I want to expand just a little bit on your op-ed because you say that Trump could be remembered as the man who brought help to the Iranian people after nearly 50 years of fanatical dictatorship and secured America from an unfolding itself, or as the president who backed down more spectacularly than any president has been forced. David has got a big choice here. The president has remarked that it's time for new leadership in Iran, but I think there's a real concern about what might build the power if the regime were to fall.
Well, there is, John. Good afternoon. I don't think it's going to get worse. 35 to 40,000 people in the streets last month. President Trump laid down a lot of red lines around Iran. Yesterday, he said extreme trauma if they don't strike a deal. Now it's possible even for tyrants to capitulate. Gaddafi did that to George W. Bush in late 2003, 2004. You'll remember after we successfully invaded Iraq, got up to Baghdad, Gaddafi called up and said, "Come get my stuff, come get my nation, come get my chemical weapons construction," and we did. He totally disarmed. He stayed in power for a few more years. So it's possible that the Iranians could capitulate. But yesterday, the president, on the follow-up question, after he said they'll suffer extreme trauma if they don't strike a deal, that went about a month ago. So I think we've got a time frame now, and the Ford is on its way. They have 1-2 weeks for the Ford to get there, a few days to get more on station. And that's more firepower than I've seen since 2002, the invasion of Iraq. And I think the president, what he just said down there at Fort Bragg, was just another amazing Spider-Man anywhere, get anything done, but it wants to. I think he's going to drop the dime on the Iranians unless they totally capitulate to the missile, abject supporters around the world. Stop killing your people, and of course, anything left of the nuclear program will be obliterated. They might even be facing the discombobulated.
Well, judging by reports that I've heard, tremble before. That's not something that you want to be subject to. I want to switch gears here. High-profile casualty of this file. Axios represents Goldman Sachs top lawyer Catherine Rumler resigned Thursday night after her name appeared in Epstein-filed documents.
There's still a chance
Her
to stop
resignation
them.
announcement that's effective June 30th follows the release of trial showing emails spanning several years from Catherine Rumler into the referred to the disgraced late financier as, quote, Uncle Jeffrey. She was not only Goldman Sachs,
They hit chicken.
Deputy White House
Now
counsel
might be a
in
good time to stop them.
files and gadgets.
Never got your back.
You would presume that
conflict. Not only was she White House counsel for President Obama, she was a partner at Latham & Watkins. After that, she's been at Justice and AUSA. Very, very good lawyer. After she left the White House, was the wife of defense officer for Latham & Watkins. And Jeffrey Epstein was her client. And they developed a working relationship. It was professional, and she got gifts.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
But it was all very bad when she got too chummy in these emails. When the emails were released, I thought it was a bad idea at the time. Democrats pushed for it. I don't know who's going to end up with the most casualties because the emails are taking down people left, right, and center. You don't get close to a convicted felon. You don't help him with his spin, even if he sends a good client. So Ms. Rummer is a very fine lawyer who had a very bad instinct regarding Mr. Epstein and whether or not she ought to be giving advice. She wasn't a lawyer. Giving advice on how to spin is legal troubles in 2018, 2019, something like that. And finally she said, I put it back to better if Mr. Goldman Sachs did the right thing. She walked the plank. Always put the plank.
Tremble before fast!
You know that, but I don't think she's going to be the last to go overboard because we're going to
But, you know, Michael Lewis, put out on accident. Another Democrat to dust. How many more D's will be embarrassed right through the mutter declared guilty by association for pushing for the election? Great to have you with us. As always, I hope you have a good weekend. See you soon.
Catch me and my co-host Harris Walter and Helena on Outnumbered.
And nobody stands a chance to win.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel.
Damn it, never fall! Good ass you. Relax! Yeah, Look at you! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! You don't see it just because of accidents that are being put in the region. And this has been going on for weeks, you know, to the multiple bases that we have throughout this region. And some of them offset from the Middle East. And obviously we also have capability back in the United States. We demonstrated very clearly when midnight happened. The bombing runs were all made by aircraft from the United States continental itself. So the second carrier group is coming, and it absolutely is needed with all of these other things to do two things. One is to make certain that we're able to defend our U.S. bases in the region, and also to help Israel defend its bases and certainly its population centers that were under attack during the 12-day war. And then the second thing is to conduct a comprehensive offensive campaign that is quite comprehensive, not just against their offensive capability,
Pick your
which is
hero
thousands of
or
missile
villain.
launchers
I'm not
to
judging.
support that, and drone storage side short-range rockets.
I will
These
bring
are the
peace
weapons
to
that
this
they will
universe,
use
no matter
to
the cost.
retaliate, and retaliate they will. They demonstrated that during the 12-day war, and we have to be properly prepared for that. The means to do that is, one, we want to defend against it, whatever is launched, and two, prevent as much of it from being launched as possible. So I would see early on in the air campaign, we're going to strike that offensive capability they have, in addition to leadership targets and the entire infrastructure that's literally sustaining this regime will likely be in the crosshairs.
I am no
30 seconds before you attack.
The
Get
latest
ready.
consumer price index
wishes to
numbers for
use his
January
power for
show
good.
inflation has dropped to 2.4%. As President Trump's telling Americans are now gaining purchasing power. For more, let's welcome in senior White House Deputy Press Secretary Christian Tsai. Great to see you. Happy Saturday. So the inflation report was very positive. We'd like to see inflation cool. We'd like to see
The battle starts in 5,
But what it's really saying
4,
is that
3,
Prices are still
2,
rising. They're just not
1.
rising as fast as they were before.
All you need to
When
do
we
is
put
capture the mission area.
inflation
Got it?
costs here, where people are still seeing their grocery prices up, maintenance to buy, electricity still up, auto insurance still up, food is still up, rent and shelter as well.
I require some
How you combat that
A little help,
from the
please.
White House? I know what hearing is
Unite.
Battlefield ready again.
The mission area is yours to capture now.
Healing power. Punisher's down.
This is just the beginning.
Quantum match.
The mission area is yours.
And only now are
You are safe now, my friend. The Cosmos heals. Leave them to Khonshu.
They have gone up on the street here, what Fish is talking about. It's up now.
Shields up!
And you guys are hoping that's going to continue as we expect this.
Quantum magic.
I want to shift to these tariffs because the president has been talking a lot about how policies in place like we have Republicans in the House that sided with
The Cosmos
Democrats.
heals you.
Battlefield ready again. Canada, at least, explode.
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
look, actually, too. I will watch the president. But second is just
Born again!
and what's happening?
Cosmic might return.
Ready! Squadron!
Assemble!
So as the healing power is not only a
Tremble before fast!
I don't think we can.
Some assistance, please.
The military rhetoric towards our Canadian neighbors.
You are safe now, my friend.
In the free world. We can't just say anything and do anything and pretend that it's a joke and that it doesn't have real consequences.
Healing power. We are in this together.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
But the reality is,
Boom! No skill shots!
South now secure over a dozen historic trade deals, level the playing field for American workers. And we're starting to see our exports surge and our trade deficits decrease. We're starting to see companies invest trillions of dollars to make and hire in America after doing the exact opposite for several decades.
I tend to
So the
lost
fact matter is
souls.
that
A
America
shepherd
working,
tends
we're
to
focused
his
on continuing
flock.
to deliver for the American people. And if AOC wants to be focused on rhetoric, these other made-up things, then she can do that.
So you're saying the proof is in the pudding. You've got the numbers on your side. Are
30
people going
seconds
to
before you
feel
attack.
it
Get
by
ready.
November?
Absolutely. Look, they're already starting to see their real wages.
I am not
increase by
usually one to attend such lavish celebrations.
And as these
yet here
investments
you
continue
are,
pouring in,
covered
as we
in
see more
gold
robust
from
private
head
sector
to
job
toe.
growth,
I cannot help that fact. I was born this way.
Push, great to have you on the program.
We have more information.
The battle starts
Hey
in
everyone,
5,
I'm Emily
4,
Compagno. Catch me
3,
and my co-host
2,
Harris Faulkner and
1.
Katie McEnany on
All
Outnumbered
you need to do is
every
capture the
weekday at
mission
12
area.
p.m.
Got
Eastern.
it?
Or set your DVR.
There's
Also,
a
don't
God
forget to
living in my
subscribe to the
head.
Fox News
I
YouTube page for daily
don't know
highlights.
what to think.
The House is set to vote this week on registered to vote in federal elections. President Trump expressing
Cosmic might returns.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Something about it.
Listen.
Capture the mission area!
Feeling fantastic.
Cosmic might returns.
sits on the House Oversight Non-Service Committee. Congressman, thank you for
I require some aid.
negotiations for the funding bill. Now it looks like maybe it's going to be a standalone.
I am at your service.
So we'll pass it out of the House because we're a majority-driven institution, and every Republican that I'm aware of is for it. Because it's eminently reasonable. It's really nonsensical.
We are in this together.
People are also in the room. President Trump is going to say
It's really a shame on him.
We must not.
You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
And he also said this is a violation of federalism. He said it's the states that are responsible for administering elections, not the federal government. He's right about that. I'm not sure of an ID component to confirm you're a citizen.
Boost out me.
But I find it very interesting that Jeffries would be making this plea about states' rights, given the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives. Their first poll, H.R. 1, was a total federal takeover of elections to back their party. Who do you think he can?
We are undefeatable!
Obviously, that's very hypocritical of Leader Jeffries to say that. When you look
Just
at
too damn good looking.
what you mentioned about
Shields up!
approval, because we live in America in 2025 where you have to need an ID to go on an airplane. You need an ID if
This
you want to
place is worth
purchase
a good
alcohol.
look.
You need an ID
Everyone,
for pretty much every facet of your life. So why would you think it would be more difficult for a minority to have an ID? It's very insulting. And what it says is Democrats truly believe that they get about 1.5% additional voting because of lax rules in states like California, Oregon, where you don't even vote in person anymore, you vote by mail. So if you want $100 million in the lottery, you can redeem it
I agree with you, Congressman. If you can ride in person, you can vote in person, and you can show an ID. I'm always proud to do it in the great state of Tennessee. I want to ask you
The
again
time
about the SAVE Act.
entanglement
It's
is
very
a
important to me.
vexing problem,
Very close with Scott Presler,
even
who I know
for
has
the
been pushing
Sorcerer Supreme.
Senator Thune on this, hoping to get this
They're
across the
winning,
finish
but
line.
you
So I
still
guess I
got a
want to
chance.
ask you, how far
Pentagram
are Congress willing to go to force this issue? And how far should they be willing to go?
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
We should go to the mass. Again, it'll go out of the House. I think Democrats are really local. We'll see. It'll be a much more than 10. But every Republican will. Then it's a question of can you get the 60 votes in the Senate? We got 53 pretty much for sure with the GOP. Can we Democrats, or will they end debate and just let it go to the floor? We should really fight, because if we don't have honest, fair, transparent, and elections that we can all believe in, we're in jeopardy of losing our republic. So there's nothing more important than passing the SAVE Act and doing it as quickly as possible.
Just a quick follow-up to that.
Open your
is it worth
eyes,
blowing up the
Reek
filibuster to get it across the
We
finish
show
line?
a long way from the Big Easy.
Well, that's a question I guess the senators are going to have to answer. I would seriously consider it because it's that important.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
And talk about Iran. The U.S. and Iran just had some talks, and the Islamic Republic says they're not going to back down from their nuclear ambitions. They're saying this: no country has the right to dictate their behavior. They're also adding that America's military deployment in the region, they say it does not scare them, Congressman. We also want them to stop funding terrorist organizations in the region.
All you need to do is capture the mission area.
So,
got it?
I'm wondering, where do you see this
This
kind of
island's
leads
under
the
canvas
talks?
protection.
Iran
You
says
hear?
they're willing to continue those talks. But the question now is, what options are before the U.S.? I mean, should we consider a strike if the deal is not reached? Is that where we're headed to?
Well, that's more bluster as far as they're saying that they're not going to be engaged in the United States. Ask Soleimani if he's going to be back in the United States. Ask the mullahs about their
mission area is
tremble before wrath. President Trump needs vengeance. Soleimani said it was a missile strike. He's shown it in Venezuela. Iran is in a very scary position. The mullahs have proven that they're willing to sacrifice tens of thousands of their own people. They'll murder them to stay in power. They're the very epitome of evil, and President Trump needs to stay on the course, which he's going to do, and we'll see if this regime survives 2026.
Click here to subscribe. Never fall! Catch the hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You'll not get it anywhere
You get a weapon, you get a weapon,
Welcome back.
you get a weapon.
Explosive testimony this week on the fraud happening in
Control
Minnesota.
lost.
Governor Walz admitted New Orleans fraud in 2020. The Minnesota statute 3.971 subdivision 9 clearly says that unfair fraud in a state agency.
Governor Walz singing in
We are undefeatable.
You mentioned this fraud investigation on the regional business. Is there any
No, it was all make-believe that we've been at it. Every state had this. And look, I do
Nice
think
little
there has
boost.
to be accountability in this. No one in
Can't
state
keep this cable down for long.
make-believe. Well, Saturday in America has exclusively obtained a letter through state officials turned a blind eye. According to the letter, state employees have been warning Minnesota lawmakers about the fraud for years. But those warnings were ignored.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Through 2025, concerns were raised about the leadership, the resources, internal audits, and the commissioner when internal systems failed. Concerns were escalated to the governor's office and the internal oversight office, including the office of the legislative auditor.
Willing to help? That's much
More
better.
early warnings. Future events will show that the programs where early concerns were raised are now some of the most severely affected by fraud. So these Minnesota whistleblowers,
Never fall!
retaliation for speaking up about non-compliance. All of my job duties were removed. I was trespassed from all gigs of the
area. Keep
I was
going.
investigated at a great cost to the state in a smear campaign accusing me of being dangerous and a racist in one. Bringing
use
out
one of
Minnesota whistleblower Dave Bernstein, along with Minnesota State Representative and Republican gubernatorial candidate Christine Robbins, who shared these letters with us. Say, let me start with you. I was reading.
We are undefeatable.
To bring compliance to
to leadership. So no, the smear campaign starts where you are
You'll
told
have to keep
that
fighting
you
until we
are
have a winner.
racist, and then your job duties are lessened until you basically have no job duties.
Pentagram I am Black Panther of Wakanda.
There is just a continuous effort to stifle you, to shut you up. And it is impossible to overcome. It was many, many sleepless nights and many, many very long, sad days trying to save my career and also trying to accomplish something that it was clear we needed assistance with.
And Faye, just sticking with you for a moment, what specifically did you see? And this is addressed to Minnesota Department of Human Services.
At the Minnesota Department